Morning. Hello. How's it going? All right, we're back. It's a beautiful Friday. Got one more day here before the weekend. We're going to keep working on autotiling. We're getting close. We're getting closer. We got our flood filling system working yesterday. That totally works now. Now we're doing the initial step of the autotiling, which is to determine what source ID we want. And I made a note for myself, rebuild this with an enum to match the different tile map type source IDs. Yeah, because the one I drew here, the one I wrote out here, presumed that all the tiles were either on the floor or the walls. But we also have the doors. So we need to make an enum. What should this be? Call it maybe source ID. Hey, Fody. Nerd rolling your way in here on your Heelys. Thanks for hanging out. How are you doing? How are you doing the last couple of days? Source ID. So we want it's like inner hall floor inner hall wall. Hey, Xtrofu. What are we making? We're making a tactics game. Making like a pixel art tactics game. Here's kind of the art style we're going for. It's kind of like FTL faster than light in that you've got a spaceship. This is a little prototype we've got of the ship. The main difference from FTL is we've got multiple layers. This is going to be a little starship management game where you're grabbing crew, repositioning them throughout the ship, sending them to repair a power conduit, man the weapons, man the shields, adjust the engines. So we've got kind of a little thing. Right now we're working on a editor tool for building those little ships. So we've got the basics of an editor tool. The problem is we need an autotiler to make those surfaces look nice. So that's what we're mainly working on. Ooh, 100 plus degrees Fahrenheit over there. Rough. I'm sorry to hear that. Got up to 80 here yesterday, which for us is like the peak. Yeah, it's still really rough. This is kind of the art style we're going for. This kind of pixelated, original Star Trek kind of look. Original or TNG kind of Star Trek look. Oh, thank you for the follow. Oh, thank you for getting us to our follower goal of 170. I appreciate that, Xtrofu. How are you doing? Are you a Godot developer? Are you got any projects or anything you're working on? I'd love to hear about stuff the community's making. Bodhi's got this awesome, what are we calling it? A doomer shooter? Is that like, it's like boomer shooter? From a recent jam. That game was awesome. Any additions you're planning for that game, Fody? I saw you're doing like a Blood Moon. Does that have like a gameplay implications? Is it like a period of like extra activity or intensity in the game? Middle hall floor. Middle hall. So what we're doing right now is we're The auto tiling portion of this needs to do two different things. It needs to pick the source ID on the tile map that's appropriate for the tile, and it needs to pick then the atlas coords. So we're going to start by picking the source ID, because that's easy. Well, relatively easy. Now that we have this flood fill system. Outer hull wall. I think this is going to be pretty much it. I think we're going to want like inner and outer doors, huh? Inner, just for aesthetic reasons. Inner hull door. Outer hull door. No, maybe we do this differently then. Maybe we do something like... I kind of like having the middle holes be 0 and 1. Maybe we do it like this. The ordering really doesn't matter. Yeah, that's the idea with the Blood Moon, but you're probably going to stop working on it soon, maybe pick it up later. In the last few days, you only made some minor tweaks here and there. Yeah, that happened to me about a month ago with my jam game, where I had been working on it. I basically took 2 months after the jam and kind of worked just on that. And I made some really good improvements, but by the end of it, the stuff that was left over was so small and tedious, but like important, and I was like, I can't do this right now. Oh, man, we're jamming today. Since it's Friday, I'm treating myself to my little chill guitar station. So, here's some examples of how we're going to pick the source ID. So if we have an outer hull, it would be... There's a tile up here and a tile down here, so it's like the middle tile. But if we find a tile on one side that is empty, and we know that this tile is actually exposed to space, which the shorthand I'm using for that is this. We're not actually going to check the neighbors to see if there are empty tiles, because that doesn't actually work. We have a flood fill system that does this for us. That it knows whether a tile is exposed to space or not. So we can do that. And that's the first step of this, is to figure out whether a tile's an inner tile, a middle tile like is totally entombed on every side. And right now we just have stand-ins. Like here's an inner tile, which maybe the tile next to it is empty, which is why you can see it as an inner tile, like it's inside a room. But the tile is entombed, like the tile is enclosed on all spaces. So we have a flood filler that we finished yesterday that does that for us. So we just need to code in the logic of how we determine it. And basically we have that logic already, which is down here, which is that if the partition 0 has these tiles, then it's going to be outer. We need to match the tile. Get source ID tile. How are we going to iterate through this is the question. Are we going to iterate by layer? If we iterate by layer... Well, we're passing the whole tile in. Let's just do it here. So we're going to say variable tile type is an... Gonna be, what is it? Source ID. Source ID a class? Oh no, that's just coloring that because it's an enum. Okay. I guess we should call this tile. No, it's source ID. We call it tile source ID. Source ID, and it's going to be tile. It's going to be tile dot. Well. Oh, it's not going to be a source ID. It's a... Tile type is an integer and it's tile.w. Or no, it's not an integer. It's a tile and it's tile.w. Print tile type. Let's just print tile type and see. Well, that's not going to run, so. If I feed an integer into an enum, it should give me back the... Well, it just doesn't care. We can just use an enum or an integer to key into an enum. Pretty sure. Enums. You wish you had those in Construct 3. To those global constants instead. Fair. Yeah, I am not terribly used to them. I was planning on using them as bit flags for some of this auto tiling. We may still do that. But I'm worried that the combinations are such that we're going to have to do it with an enum because they're going to become bigger than 1 byte. So we might still end up using some enum bit flag stuff. But right now we're not doing that. Maybe this is not the way to do this. You know, I put these as different source IDs, and I'm not sure why. We actually don't need to do it this way. We could actually just do this. Like, for some reason I had it in my head I was going to split up these different layers, but I should actually have them on the same sprite sheet. I think. Maybe not. No, I shouldn't. Oh, Cubus is here. Hey, Cubus. Ahoy. Ahoy there, sailor. How's it going? We missed you yesterday. You missed some rather thrilling flood filling algorithms being put to work. Now we're doing some auto tiling now that we have that information. We can basically tell whether a tile is exposed to outer space now, which is pretty cool. Or whether we can tell whether it's exposed to outer space or if it's inside a room. It's a pretty good thing to be able to tell in space. I think we're going to get a lot of utility out of that. We're going to be able to do a lot of stuff like atmospherics, knowing information like that. So that's pretty awesome. Right, we're rebuilding this. The tile type is a tile, and it's tile.w. This isn't the way to do this. Do like this. This way each type is just 2. Now we can do this. And now tell me, what's the pressure outside? It's low. It's actually pretty cool because we're partitioning from the outside in. So outside is actually just like the first index into our like set of partitions. So it's just considered a room, but it's the first room. It's like... So the logic's pretty easy to figure it out. Okay, so we've got our, we know whether a partition contains this thing. Now we just have to map that to the source ID. So source ID is going to be, well, here I have it set to tile.width.2. That's not right. Okay, so door will not be entombed fully. Maybe it will. I guess visually that could happen. Maybe I would just prevent doors from getting placed that way. Maybe I'll do that. Otherwise, I got to put a safety piece in here. I don't really want to do that. Okay, so it's going to be like match. No, it's going to be tile type times 2 source ID. In German, space is called Weltraum, world room. That's pretty cool. Checks out world room. Source ID is, so if it's like a middle hall or whatever. We're going to start by saying, actually, I guess we can start by saying it's tile W. It's tile.w plus, so if the room has it, oh, this is not sufficient. Because we need to be able to distinguish between tiles that are entombed on all sides. So we actually need, oh, we are doing that. Whoops, we're making that check right here. I'm like blind. So first we're checking to see if the space next to it's empty. If the space next to it is empty, and then if that empty space is outside, we save this. I love doing this with numbers. I feel like I should do it with the enums. Can I just say that? Can I say, oh, that doesn't make a ton of sense. We're going to do it this way for now. Else plus 1. Or no, this is right. This was all right. So plus, let's see. Let me see here. So it starts as either this. It starts as either 0 or 1, or potentially 3. So it's actually 0 or 1 for hall or floor. Then if it's an interior space, it becomes 2 or 3. You could use bit flags, and you can also use enums as types. In 4.3. Enums is types. Interesting. I mean, I'm on 4.3. Is that not what I'm kind of doing? I guess I'm a little confused about the conversion. Like if I can just use the name or the number. Or if I can do, I assume I can just do arithmetic on enums because they're just integers. I'm kind of new with enums. I know I can use them as bit flags. That was the intention for the coordinates. For the atlas coordinates, we might do that because that's relevant. Here, it's kind of exclusive, so we don't really need to do them as bit flags. They're like exclusive. Like you're never going to have a piece of hull that's both a middle, inner, and outer. It's only one of these. Enums are just a number if you call the name. Yeah, so I need to do it that way. I keep calling the number, and I should just call the name. I just need to remember what... I need to do the math in my head really quickly here. So basically, if we go from middle to inner, we need to add 2 to the value. It's the type plus 2. But if it's a door, will that work? So it's 3. 0, 1, 2, 3. If I add 2 to that, that doesn't work. I would need to add 3. You could also use it as a multiple. So 0, 1, 2. No, that doesn't really work. 1. Middle hull, whoops. Middle hull wall. There's autocomplete for enums, right? Yes. They are like reverse arrays. Technically a dictionary. You use the name like source ID dot middle X and get the number. Yeah. Yes. Just when I write them out like this, the numbers associated with them are implicit. I'm just trying to think about... Because we're basically doing math on these. We're basically jumping around. Oops. Let me do this correctly. Wall. So we start with the type, which is 0, 1, or 2. And then we use the type combined with the checks down there to end up... We're going from this tile type. I should probably actually call it that, tile type. So we're going from the tile type to the source ID. It's 0, 1, 2. These are the zeros. So I could just add 2 to get the correct one. These ones are the walls. So they start as 1, and I can just add 2 to get the correct one. But then we have the door. So I didn't want to check to see what type it was to do this, but it looks like I need to do that. It's 0, 1, 2. We maybe want to rearrange this. You can say middle, hull, door, which doesn't exist, but maybe it will. Inner, hull, door. We can, if we do it this way, it's consistent. Outer hull, door. You can also write them explicitly. Yeah, true. I mean, it seems kind of pointless to do this, except just for my own ability to see them. I normally do this if it's a bit flag. Weirdly, I have an easier time with this if it's a bit flag. Yeah, okay, so this should work now, because now we can just say it's the type plus 3 or 6. So we can just add depending on the outcome. Okay, I like this. This is good. This will work. We're going to say tile type is W. We actually maybe don't need to do this. Tile type. Maybe we don't call it tile type. Just call it tile. So if it's inside, it's going to be +4. If it's outside, it's +2. Or not 4, 2. It's 3 or 6. 3 and 6. 3. Why is there a minus here? All right. Oh, that's because I had the middle one in the middle. Do I actually want to do that? No. Okay, so this should give us the correct tile type because it's basically just jumping around in increments of 3. You could say return source ID. More of a get. Now we need the Atlas coords, and that is much more complicated. Should we just start with the get tile source ID? Because that would at least... Oh, this is going to be complicated. Now we're getting back to like this mess of now we need to know. Now I need to know the list of tiles and how they map onto the Atlas coords. And the Atlas coords thing is like more complicated. These are like our 3 types of tiles. What are we gonna say? Where are these? There you go. These are our 3 types of tiles. Inner, middle, and outer. And they can combine in many ways. Although we've simplified a lot of this check. This is the, like, relationship of, like, what matters if we don't know for sure what types of tiles these are. So, since we now know, we don't actually need to check that many things. Now it's more like... So I've got this. This ended up being way too big. I don't want to fix it now, though. But we're probably going to do something similar here for... How big did this... Well, it probably actually does need to be this big. No. Sure. Do you use alternative tiles for the left-right flip? Oh, you've told me a number of things. You can also rearrange your tile map positions to be more logical. Like floor is just a row lower, and then the Atlas ID Y goes up. You can also rearrange your tile map positions to be more logical. Like floor is just a row lower. And then the Atlas ID Y goes up. Yeah, we could do that. I'm having them be different because the floor sprite sizes are a lot different than the wall sprite float sizes. I'm having them be different source IDs. Do you use alternative tiles for left-right flip? I don't think I will. And that's because alternative tiles... Like, if alternative tiles also took an Atlas coord, that would be fine. I guess they kind of do. I mean, I could do it that way. I just don't like how Atlas coords just count up. They just count up. Like, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Like, there isn't really a mapping for them. The tile set layout is not really done. What I have for the tile set layouts was like this. But this is like, well, for one thing, you can't really... I picked a terrible one that's impossible to see. This isn't much better. This was just the outlines. This is like just the permutations of the outlines, which is actually not what we want. We want the permutations of the faces here. Which is kind of why I was doing all of this biz. I was trying to like lay them out in a sequential order that made sense. But let's look at this. So this is the info dependency. I'm going to draw another one of these. This one is the info dependency when you don't know the source ID of your neighbors. So this is like a tile looks over, sees that there's an empty tile, sees that there's a tile here, but needs to know now about its neighbor. I'm actually going to draw it like... Oh, oops, I closed that. I'm going to draw it more like this, I think. I don't really have a good nomenclature for... This is my symbol for this is a vacuum, which I don't love. I don't want a better way of saying this is a vacuum. Maybe if I did dotted. Let me see if a dotted would be cool. No, I can't really do dotted lines this way. Yeah, dotted. Yeah, it's the combinatorics are going to be rough, but there's got to be a better way of visualizing this. If I can come up with a rule, it should be pretty easy, but that's why I was diagramming it out, was to like try to mentally come up with the rule for how this works. How did I end up? I don't love that. How did this end up being the same? Oh, because I blew it down here. I see. This could be okay, maybe. I mean, like a true void. We're dashed with every second segment missing. That might be better. Be like this. I think he meant it the other way, where like I just erase whole lines. That could also be good. A few ways we could do this. So dashed would be like missing this whole thing. Top one works well. This one? Yeah. Yeah. It retains its character 100% pretty well. This one gets kind of weird around the edges. Just look at this one real quick. This is probably cleaner. Looks a little funky. Top on right, just leave the corners. I mean, like... Probably go... I don't know. It really doesn't matter. I like this because this feels like it has a straighter line. This one feels like it's going up and down. So let's go with this. Okay, so we're going to go to this new thing. This is going to be get atlas chords. What's good is we just have to do this once. The outer pixel always needs to stay, otherwise it's round. Oh yeah, it is round, isn't it? That's kind of silly. That's a good point. Just like retain that part of it. That's better. I think that communicates what we're trying to get. So the bottom one is, this tile is empty, but it is in an enclosed space. And then this one is, this tile is empty and it's in the void. And yeah, I think that communicates that. Cool. And then this is obviously, this tile is occupied. Now we can get rid of this whole stupid arrow thing. Even though I'm rather proud of my diagonal arrows, which are hard to draw. So this should be relatively easy. Let's grab something. Let's grab a few of these. Get over here. It's not into the background. Yeah, we can just diagram this out once. The middle tiles, well, actually we can't diagram it out once. Oh yeah, we can, because all of them are the same. We're basically, when we do the get atlas coords, it's just managing the outlines. It's managing two things. It's managing the outlines between homogeneous and heterogeneous tiles, because that determines where the outlines are. And then it's also managing which faces are colored in with the type. But yeah, knowing the source ID of the neighbor tiles helps a lot with this. It simplifies the graphs significantly. So let's grab some examples of the lines. It doesn't really matter which one we do this for. I think I'm going to do it for outer tiles. Oh, what we did over here doesn't really matter. I just realized, because we don't actually need to diagram this twice. We don't actually need to use this. Oops. Oopsies. We also don't need this, which is awesome, because we don't care. We don't care about the ceiling. We'll already know whether this tile is empty. Actually, we do need to know about the ceiling. So we actually want to start... We don't want to start with this one. Oh, this also isn't sufficient. Let me get rid of this box. So this also... We don't just get to check the front two. We have to check the back two. So it is a little more complicated. Oh, I put these layers in the wrong order. Is this something I can change? I feel like it's not. Oh well. I have some of these, don't I? Some of these back ones? Oh, tell me I do. I guess we can just take this. Get rid of this part. So we need the 4. So we're checking the 4 horizontal neighbors and the vertical neighbor. And technically, we're also checking the lower neighbor. Don't need to check the lower floor, though. Oh, that's in the wrong spot. There we go. Here's where we may start using bit flags, because we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 neighbors. I don't know if we care about this bottommost neighbor, though. We don't need to know about the bottom floor, really. We just need to know if there's a wall beneath us. We do need to know about the upper floor just because that's the next tile section. Because the floors and the walls technically share tiles, like in terms of tile coordinates. Like this is the same tile coordinate, the floor and the wall. There's actually just 4 that we care about. We don't need a bit for this. Actually, we do need a bit for this. Do we? No. Oh, it's more complicated than that. Because again, it's not just, is there a tile next to us? It's, is that tile internal or external? It's actually a question of, is this tile next to us, and is this tile the same type of tile that we are? Those are the checks. That's the 2 checks that we need to make. That's all that matters. Because we know what source ID we are. So that's all we check. We say, is there a tile here? If so, is this tile the same type of tile as us? Okay, so I am going to use that dotted one that we made. I'm going to make a legend. I'm going to make a legend for my sanity here, because I'm in danger of losing the thread on what all of this means. We don't want. Legends need legends too. That's really nice. A little rough is I do not have an easy way of putting text in here, but we can manage. 1, 2, 3. This isn't empty. So let's make this 3 sets of tiles first. Is there an insert text tool in Sprite? I have never seen it. It could very well exist. Insert text. Oh, look at that. Well, I'll be damned. I want to put my font in here. How do I do that? Text. Empty wall tile. Font size. Okay, well, here's the tool. Why? Oh, I have to select a font. Oh, I can select a font. I don't know if my font's going to read super well. Ugh, my font does not work very well here. Just not like my font. Oops. What if we did it bigger? That's cool. Good call on that. 24. There we go. That's more respectable. Wow, good call. I was going to hand draw that out and be upset the whole time. Kind of a weird size, but that's okay. It's viewable. You saw it, and I'm really glad that you did. And it's just T? Oh my god. Empty. Floor tile. Smooth font edges? Probably not. Probably don't want that. Oops, why did I write tile with a Y? Ye oldie style. We've got empty wall tile, which will change to look like what we did here. Where was that? Where did we do that? Over here. You like that. Did you single line breaks for this or double? I did single. Okay, sick. This will be good. This will be helpful. Space the vertical dash 2 pixels. The reason I don't do that is because of this middle thing. But also, there's an awkward number of spaces. There's an odd number, so I don't think we can get away with that. Probably be good though. All right, so we've got empty wall tile. This is going to be other wall tile, and then same. So empty, other, and then same. I don't know, or matching, I don't know. All right, we've got our legend. Ugh. All right, empty wall tile, or empty tiles, other tiles, matching tiles. Let's see how we want to start. Oh, mother effort. Do I care? Why do I need to draw out the empty ones if all I'm checking is whether a tile matches or not? Oh, because the presence of an other tile may still mean we need to... Okay. No, I figured. I realized what's happening here. I have some idea what I'm doing. Not like a lot, but some. Move this out of the way. The complexity comes from cases like this, where there are different tiles next to them, but the floor tiles look the same because floor tiles are mostly entombed. Oh, that's actually okay. That won't ever happen in the real world. I was worried about like a case where there's like an outer floor tile, like an exposed outer floor tile surface next to a middle tile floor surface. Actually, that can happen, huh? Can't it? It can. So we actually care about this here. This? F? Where did I get this from? Here. Okay, so it matters. The source ID matters, but so does which sides are are colored which faces of the three sides. I'm trying to think. Let me see if I can get an example of this somewhere. Yeah, these are all examples of this. So Yeah, so like exterior floor tiles, get rid of their outline if they're next to inner and middle floor tiles and outer floor. All the floor tiles will look like this. Basically, the inner and outer holes have faces that are middle holes. Like, it's very rare that there's a homogeneous, like a fully homogeneous tile. So I just got to think about how I want to lay this out. So when we're recording the source ID, we want to record one more piece of information. We want to record which of these is which. Like on which faces is it exposed? Now that's a case for like a bit flag enum. Oh, I think I have something good here. We could have a bunch of information here. We could say like tile flags. We need to... I'm jumping the gun a little bit here where I'm thinking about getting the information, the visual information of every side. Can actually be a bit flat, like a byte. Can actually store all of this tile info and maybe a... No, I'm not going to worry about that. Kind of arbitrary which numbers I pick here. Do I want to record whether... whether its face is exposed or whether it's not? Oh, Cubus hitting me with the sit down, stand up. Damn you. I'm thinking if we record which faces. Which faces we have as a set of bit flags, as well as whether we're a middle hull, an inner hull, or an outer hull. Be good. All right, all right. You got it. Oh, Godot has a bitmap class. It's kind of awesome. What is this used for? I wonder. Looks like it's for some kind of visual thing. And it uses a 2D coordinate system. Fascinating. This might not be what we want, but it's interesting. This looks like it's for visual stuff. We can probably just use the enum. Kind of cool, though. Let's set that aside right now. So for our thing, we need to know a lot of information. We need to know which of our faces are exposed. We need to know what type we are. And then for our neighbors, we need to know the same things. Oh, maybe the bitmap thing is perfect for this. Well, maybe it's not. We need to know a lot of information to be able to decide what we're going to do here. Stuff. Gotta go now. Time to cycle home while not catching on fire. Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Fody. Have a good bike ride. Let's start easy. Let's start small. I'm gonna move this set over here. It's kind of a I don't know. Something we can use. So let's start simple. This song is my jam. Let's try to break this down to only the information we actually need. See how that transforms our understanding of things. So like for this, like for this, for example, we actually only care about 2 of these faces. We don't care about the rest. Which, if we can store a tile's information about itself in that simple bit mask that I laid out here, up here. So if each one has this associated with it, just this one byte that says, you know, if it's This doesn't make a lot of sense to include this. Well, maybe it makes sense. I'd actually want inner hull and outer hull to be the biggest values. They're the smallest. Doesn't really matter, but matters a little. These are mutually exclusive, which is a bit of an issue, but it's fine. But yeah, if we have these flags, we can know whether the tile is an inner hull or an outer hull, and we can know which of its faces are exposed. And if we can query our neighbors for that information, then we just need stuff like this. Like this one only cares about these sides. And in fact, the one that we're drawing here, this would be for an empty one. Actually, we don't even care about this, do we? Similarly, we just care about this, opposite of it. We can be a lot more efficient about what we're querying. I'm gonna be right back. Gotta take a quick bio break. All right, I'm back. Thanks for waiting. Sorry for the wait. It was the case where as soon as I stood up, I was like, something's happening. I have to go deal with this. So it's basically your fault, Cubus. You made me stand up. All right, here's another piece of adjacency information we can maybe store as a byte. We could store whether information matches, although we probably do want to store that. This is all the Atlas coordinate information I want. It's just this, whether these specific faces match the tile. This is it for a floor. Let's do it for a wall. Actually, do we need this? Yeah, we do. Or do we? We should. We could just do this part with Y sorting. That presumes that the floor above and the wall below are on the same Z index, which I don't want to presume. In fact, I want to specifically avoid that. So yeah, we'll just hold this information. It was a nice 0. Let's get a 0 here. Alright, I have to pick an order. Got 8 faces. The configuration of the faces is what's going to determine the Atlas coordinate. The order is pretty arbitrary. Guess I just gotta pick one, huh? A cubus. I guess we'll go negative y. Well, maybe we'll go positive x, positive y. Negative x, negative y. Negative z. Or we could go negative x, negative y, negative z, positive x, positive y. It's probably the most intuitive thing to do. I hate this kind of stuff, like making like super arbitrary choices that are going to matter and that I need to be able to remember what choices I made. All super arbitrary. Yeah, it really doesn't matter. Let's not get bogged down. So let's say... Oops. Make this positive. We'll turn this one into 1. Oh yeah, this is that RimWorld shit right here. Kind of wistful electric guitar. That's like the hallmark. How are we doing on time? Oh, we're basically out of time. Well, I have a process now for diagramming the rest of this out, and that is good. Told myself I was gonna work on my jam game this weekend, but we'll see how much time I actually end up spending on this. I'm going to skip ahead just to do this example of the combination of the two, just for myself. All right, here we go. Here's an example of how we'll set up this flag. So we can flip the bit for this face, or we can flip the bit for this face, or we can flip the bit for both, and it points to a unique variation of the tile. And we only have to diagram this once, and it will apply to all 3 tile sets. Actually, all 6. Oh, we got to diagram it twice if we want to do a similar diagram for the wall, but that might be unnecessary. I mean, in fact, it is specifically unnecessary. So that's good. So I have a way. I know how I'm going to lay this out, at least. Sort of. Sort of. I'll have to turn this value into a two-dimensional value for the coordinates, but that's easy. Relatively easy. All right, well, that's probably it for this week. We'll see how much of this diagramming I do over the weekend. I'll try to do it. It'd be a nice mindless activity. I know this is like one of the more boring things people could be watching. And I'd much rather get some stuff on screen. But I appreciate you hanging out, sitting through the worst of this stuff. And I really got to run, but I appreciate it. I hope you all have a great weekend. I'm talking to you, Cubus. And I'll see you next time. Bye.